Hello, my name is Kevin Bateman, and this is events in spiritual places that people have forgotten to visit in Listowel. Beneath the quiet grass, the conversion virgin, spiritual enlightenment. It was not a conversion, undergone phenomenon. Walking from the fields of milk, ground shaking possessed them. Divinity school, spiritual enlightenment. What were you offered? Faustian pact? What contract did you sign? And I give you Ciaran O Driscoll.
How's it going, lads? I'm reading a poem called My Father's Garden. It began with my father digging a ridge of potatoes, which my mother said, sure, they're only marbles. But it went on, the poem went on then to reference the Great Famine, which is part of all of our heritage. My Father's Garden. In my father's garden there are many stalks, a little forest of green jesters, with white and yellow flowers for cap and bells. And my father has sworn allegiance to this staple of the dispossessed, declaring that he'd die for a potato, and also to their pillow talk in taverns, his neck her pillow, on a market day. And there's a poster in the sub-post office of an enormous Colorado beetle, a black destroyer on a yellow background. And after planting time, my father dreams a whole nation of them are subdividing tenancies in his drills, and that his green jesters are shriveling potato stalks, and the spare van of his poetry is the scream. Grim and disillusioned, my father digs and lifts. Clay crumbles from the fork. Healthy pink potatoes are kissed by light, as if to make amends too late for all that bother about a tuber. Britannia's trident Britannia's trident of laissez-faire points corn and stock to the export road. Victoria has a tear in either eye.
And I give you Matt Mooney.
Hard to blame the kids still alive in Gaza. First line, my poem, playground. When they are bold and belligerent, herded by the hunger at feeding stations like a host of little Olivers. Their begging bowls outstretched, each in turn frantically filled with ladles by heroic aid workers from their pots, steam rising from gruel-like food, manna from heaven in a famine looming, ripples of desperation, waves of need, sapling bodies pressing sweat to get a chance to live, an end to all the knowing, a handout of hope in an endless nightmare. When they should be careering peacefully in a local playground of slides and swings, roundabouts for jumping on and off and glee, where the ice cream van arrives in full tune, children licking their crispy, crunchy cones, proud parents congregating in conversation, admonishing their offsprings amid laughter. A distant dream in the middle of this disaster.
And I give you Eileen Sheehan.
Two little haiku, senro, and a poem in the middle. Long road, the leaves and I, wind blown. Deciduous. There was a girl, and the path through the woods was the only path. It was winter, and the scene was clean and all verticals, serious green to grey to softer grey, and lines of solid black, dexter and sinister, future and past unknowable. Trees sang the story of trees, their long shadows. Her hands on the skin of a tree, scarred like her knee and warm to her touch. Dark fissures for beetles to nest in. Silver scribble of lichen, displaying a traceable lexicon. Acid and alkali, squidgy green moss to the north side. Yellow lichen sang the story of air, its pure components. Stood at the base of the tree and grounded, her feet where small creatures burrowed and foraged, debris of autumn rotting down into earth, leaf mould and carcass, reduction happening so quietly, and the floor sang the story of fungus, its insatiable hunger. And the path from the woods was the only path, footstep and footstep, and the girl sang the story of trees, the story of air, the story of hunger, with the trees at attention, and the woods sang the songs of a child. Pauper's graveyard, only the long grasses have names.
And I give you Emer Fallon.
I'm just going to read two poems. One is for a great friend of mine who had an unusual life and came to Ireland when she was 7, all the way from Germany by herself, and ended up living beside me and my family, and we were lucky to know her. Pearls for Antia. Winter's rain washes a century of records clean off the charts. Our neighbour, who's lived here for 70 years, has almost had enough. My daughter's faces turn pale grey, and I am a ship cast adrift. My joints creak and groan. One night I wake up not knowing who we are. Stories pour out of my phone. Millions of people take to the roads, marching miles through days and nights, crossing seas in flimsy boats. Our neighbour buys seed potatoes, Duke of York and British Queens. She will do what she does with them every spring, leave them to sprout in a dimly lit room, and when the rain eases she'll plant them in furrows lined with manure. Over the weeks they'll shoot and leaf into soft green rows, and when the flowers appear, pale cream with an orange heart, she'll sink a fork into the earth, flick the plant over and shake it off, to uncover them flecked with soil, pale and contained like dirty pearls. She will serve them, gleaming with butter, on her mother's blue china, and she and her guests will agree. They taste so different depending where they've grown. And maybe she will marvel once more at how she came here. A girl washed up on a wave, formed by the Second World War. Maybe the years will unfurl back to the child she was, lying in Glencree Infirmary with measles, willing herself not to cry, trying not to think of her brother and sister, her father and mother back in Bonn. I think everywhere you walk here, you feel that you're walking on history, and this place is representative of that, and that's what this poem is about. The Brown Bird. You say you don't believe in spirits. Rest in peace, you say. What does that even mean? I tell you about one night in France where a group of us saw a ball of light. I tell you about the angry man's voice in my head that same night when I lay in bed, how he only spoke French. I tell you about my third eye, the one in the middle of my forehead, how it opens when someone I love is nearby. That's just energy, you say, like a picture falling off a wall when someone dies. I tell you about the people my mother saw at the bottom of the garden when her mother was dying, and I waited, and I tell you how saying the words rest in peace gives me permission to let go of my dead. You need to believe in these things, you say. So I tell you about the bird on the hill behind the house, how it calls all night, a soft rolling chirr, and how I saw it sitting in the garden twice last week. I tell you I'm almost sure it was a nightjar, even though we both know nightjars have never been recorded here before. I tell you about the world the two white ponies on the hillside have made, of gorse tunnels and pale green clearings and sweet-scented pods of horse shit, where stone chats and hairy mollies and bog asphodel and robins live. I tell you about the handfuls of tiny frockins that shelter under the stern-stalked ferns. I tell you to look, see their dusky skin, sniff the heather scent of them. I tell you tip a palmful into your mouth and taste frockin' sundaes, stolen kisses, the purple lips of hungry children, the silent years of damp darkness that flood your mouth and tickle your teeth. Now tell me you don't believe.
And I give you Daragh Fleming.
Lovely to be here in Listowel. So this poem I was going to do, I didn't realise this tree was going to be here. But this is about a tree that's near my house that stands alone as well. It's called Excommunicate. I saw a dying tree exiled beyond the ice and wondered if its tribe abandoned it. Cast out. Belonging is for tethered things with deep roots underground. My roots never took hold. Earthly umbilical never corded to this mother nature, didn't recognise my scent. Bolted away, could sense the danger. Untethered to the mirrored image when I stoop for water, I am no one's, no one claims me, this flesh is forsaken, impure blood, this skin is cracked. I cannot give you what was taken. Empty shell, my soul's home is vacant. My heart waits to be welcomed. I hear it whisper to the gods who left us behind. I was left here, they could see me. Cruelty is easiest when ignored. They said belonging was inheritance, but I was stripped of mine. Sinead. And I'll do one more. Now I imagine everyone knows this, but just in case. This is about Prometheus, who was the titan who stole fire from Zeus and gave it to humans. This is Promethean flame. The fire Prometheus gifted us was with the intention that it might guide us from darkness spiraling around our potential. The Titan did not predict what it would illuminate, the nature of the beast glinting in the light of the flame. We would want more, now and always. His punishment was to live trapped and bleeding, chained to a mountain as his gifts wreaked their misfortune on his beloved humans. And us, our punishment was to live with his gifts as they corrupted and warped our minds. We were not ready for this power. This fire lifted us beyond our nature and we began to see ourselves as godlike, rewriting our histories so that we were created in the image of one. Nature was ours to exploit. We were no longer part of it. And so we began. Our industries were hell-born, flame-licked smokestacks poisoning our Mother Earth. We sucked her dry. Adult prodigy exploiting a loving matriarch. We suffocated her, filled her skies with choking smog, drained her of her ancient strength, ripped her flesh away to make way for our own progress. And still we wanted more. We would always want more. For all the hope Prometheus saw, he overlooked the darkness. We'd turn on each other, burn children alive just to have more. More land, more power, just more. We stopped viewing ourselves as nature and stopped seeing our brothers and sisters as human. Obstacles, villains, nothing. Constructing apathy with our machines, every person reduced to numbers and statistics. Violence defined as necessary evil, marketed as business and not sadistic. Apathy, the root of all hatred, tempered by the flames gifted to bring about a world change. And it is this Promethean flame that birthed our chains, wrapping our world in apathy and hate.
And I give you John W Sexton.
In this meadow of the dead, let their spirits rise up and anoint us, and may we be comfortable in their company. A terrible tearing, like a fathomless grief, descends overhead. You wake to it. The noise is continuous, without break, pouring from the night sky. You dress quickly and go outside. The sky is cloudless and full of stars, and the noise is coming from each of those bright, brittle points in the night. A thudding in the grass startles you, and you look down. A hare is surveying you. It turns. It bolts away, but not too far before stopping. It turns and looks again. You see a young boy. It's you, the ghost of something you were. The boy has a jagged stone in his hands, and he throws this viciously at the hare. The hare drops to the ground. The boy is gone. There is only you, the loss of a stone suddenly in your hand. You look at the hare, but that is gone too. In its place, in a heap, is an old woman. You recognize her. She is your grandmother. She is lifeless, her skin grey under starlight, her clothes the same. You pick her up and she is as light as a bundle of dry sticks. A flash illuminates the meadow. 40 yards distant, 35 yards distant, 30 yards, 25 yards. A blue sheet of lightning is approaching. You walk to meet it, your lifeless grandmother in your arms. You know that lightning is an invigorant to hares, that they frolic in it. You know instinctively that the lightning will revive her. The sheet of light is now suddenly upon you. Grandmother falls to pieces in your grasp. A hare is suddenly thudding away through the meadow. You are a light full of a fathomless grief. You are a bright, brittle point in the night. Blue becomes white, becomes blue, becomes white, becomes blue, becomes white, becomes. The sun lights the birch leaves greener. At a clearing, a fox stands before you. You remember him well, can see the mark you left on his skull with your stick, can see the eye hanging from his face from the day you brained him. You had killed him that day on a rocky outcrop where the dogs had cornered him. Good morning, says the dead fox. Good morning, you say. You have no dogs with you today, says the dead fox. No, you say. One took poison left out for a fox, and the poison killed him. One died of old age. One went out a day and never returned. The pupil in the eye hanging from the face of the dead fox is green with birchlight. Let me become your dog, says the dead fox. You are surprised. You want me to domesticate you, to bring you home. No, says the dead fox. Let me be your dog, and I will guide you to the place where the lost dogs gather. I will bring you into my den and domesticate you. This is a fair bargain for taking my life. I can return the dead to you. You follow the dead fox. Your mind is filled with understanding. You and the fox step into green. A multitudinous barking tunes you to the bone.
Could everybody come forward? Poets, please. You going, Ciaran? You all good, Dolly?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Kevin Bateman, and this is Events in Spiritual Places That People Have Forgotten to Visit in Listowel, County Kerry. I would like you all to bow, if you would have me. I give you Ciaran O Driscoll, Matt Mooney, Eileen Sheehan, Emer Fallon, Daragh Fleming, John W Sexton.
May the dead haunt you forever.
Thank you all very much. I'll stay 1 second.